This is the Griffin Realty Group Ask-A-Griffin podcast, episode number 56. We continue in our agent plan with the question, do you know how to do business with people that you don't know? Are you a home seller or a home buyer who has questions about selling or buying residential property? Or maybe somebody who's thinking about becoming an agent but have questions? Well then, hey, you are definitely in the right place. I'm Danny Griffin, the founder of the Griffin Realty Group and the host of the Ask-A-Griffin podcast. Now, to help you take immediate action to get answers to those questions or just get started in the right direction, if you need to sell or buy property right now or in the near future, or you're becoming an agent or want to improve your business, well, you can take advantage of our free step-by-step guides that are waiting for you over at griffincourses.com. That's Griffin courses.com. All right, let's get started. We continue with this agent plan, one of our three core plans. We have one for sellers, buyers, and agents. And the question is, do you know how to do business with people that you don't know? So the reason that question comes up often when we're coaching and training agents is because most agents build a plan that relies only on family, friends, and referrals. You'll hear it all the time. Get your letter out when an agent starts. I've heard it many years as a coach that, they told me to get a letter out to all my sphere of influence. And we throw that term around like it means something specific to somebody brand new in business, and it doesn't. Sphere of influence, what does that even mean? I mean, are these all the people that you just sort of know or you know very much? Whatever the case is, we have to be more specific about our plan. Yes, it's a good idea to let everybody know that knows you in some form or fashion. These days, a lot of people might kind of know you when it comes to social media. So you let them all know. That's right. That's good advice. However, that is not a business plan. It's not even remotely close to a business plan. It's one concept within a couple of good practices for marketing. So, and again, we move into the marketing segment of the agent plan with this discussion here today. We went from global business discussion. Now we have to get to marketing. So the concept of marketing to family, friends, and getting their referrals is great. I think it's a good part of it, but it's only one piece. And too many people in the beginning use only that, and they never really take the time to figure out how to do business with people that they don't know. Furthermore, going back to our segment on business, they don't even really ask, how does the business work? Not how will I find business, but how does the business work? And clearly, the business is fully predicated on the acquisition of listings and placing them into the multiple listing service. Not that for sale by owners don't exist outside the marketplace, but the primary way that real estate is traded is through a marketplace, typically called the multiple listing service. And there are many of them across the United States, and there are many more across the world. So that's the marketplace. You have to understand that without listings, we're nowhere. So not only do we want to figure out how to do business with people we don't know, but we also want to know how to do business with people that actually own a property that we could list and then market that property, right? So the problem that exists really starts with the result. So how do we know that this is an issue? Well, if you look at the next point here is a plan that is founded on waiting for business leads to poor results. Well, how do we know that? Well, the statistics are readily available in the real estate industry. You don't have to be a real sleuth or a detective to find out that from the National Association of Realtors that the average number of sold properties in an entire year for a single agent hovers somewhere around 3. Now, what's worse is they've masked that a little bit with what the typical agent does and says that might be 7. So I don't like any of that. I like real hard facts. I like a median number. I like an average number, whatever it might be. And by the way, there are agents that sell enormous amounts of property individually and more with teams, and it all goes under a single name. So it skews the average up a little bit. But let's suffice to say, let's take the number 3 and let's use that. That's a poor result. Not if it's a part-time job. It could be a really good side job if somebody approaches it very professionally. At the Griffin, we encourage agents to come to us if they are even going to be in a part-time capacity, because we believe we can professionalize each and every one of them in that context. However, everybody must be aware that 3 is a part-time result, whether you're doing it part-time or not. So let's just get that there. And then depending on where you live in the United States, you have to do the math that once that money comes in and there's a split with the agency and you pay any other costs, it's not that much money if you're in a low value area, meaning you typically make it up with more sales if you're in a very rural area. I know this from coaching people in rural areas. They typically do more sales than less. And if you're in a high luxury area, some of the areas in California, for example, are enormously expensive. Those people do fewer deals but much more volume. So as an agent, you also need to be cognizant of the value of the properties, and we can't talk about commissions to fix them, but you can benchmark what you think you'll be able to achieve based on the services you offer. So that would be something that you definitely want to do the math too. And you'd realize very quickly, especially if you're in a rural area, that only 3 is just not going to be worth the effort, especially if you don't learn how to do it correctly, unless it is, of course, part-time and you have a good plan. So the idea is we already know the problem. And we already know that the majority of agents, when they come into the business, typically don't have a plan at all. Most brokerages do their best to try to help in some form or fashion, but I've been around this industry for over 22 years, and I am certain very few of them have a full comprehensive plan to offer, especially a new agent. And so, again, the natural push is to get them to start talking to people inside their sphere of influence, which would include family, friends, and hopefully those people that would refer them. So it is a challenge right from the get-go that we need to deal with. Now, great, how do we solve it? Let's try to start to move into what to do to solve this. Well, very simply put, the first idea of marketing. See, a lot of people talk about marketing in all businesses, but especially this one. I'm going to separate out the two pieces for a second. When you are talking about marketing to an agent, you're talking about how to teach them to market their services. When you are talking to somebody who's selling their property, you're talking about the mechanisms for marketing and subsequently exposing their property to the marketplace, which is actually less sophisticated than a lot of sellers believe it to be. So let's come back to the agent marketing. I just get my license and nobody in the world knows I'm licensed, including my family and friends. So yes, again, go back and introduce yourself in this new context to family, friends, etc. However, immediately you need to begin to think about what is your unique selling proposition. And I know this can be confusing. Unique is a very powerful word that can give people fits and starts. Well, how am I going to be different? There's a gajillion agents out there already, people say to me. I said, no, I understand that, but you'd be surprised if you would just simplify the way that you would help a buyer through the process. If you would just simplify the way that you would help a seller through the process, that's a good way to begin. Doesn't matter what everybody else does. Doesn't matter. Don't stop trying to keep up with people that have been in the business for a long time. You're not going to compete on resume anytime soon, so stop trying to do it. And don't rely overly on the value of the brokerage. And I would say that about the Griffin as well. When I teach our agents, we say, look, we have a good brand. We go forward with integrity, and we have a core value of being people for others. We want to leave everybody better than when we found them. Having said that, if somebody's interested in our services, we want our agents to know the buyer plan so they can articulate it simply to anybody at every level. Everybody thinks, oh, but the wealthy, they would scoff at that and they'd laugh me out. No, they wouldn't. They're people, and they don't know much about the process of selling a house. They think they do. Some people think they know everything about it, and they don't have the first clue when it comes to the simplification of the process, explaining the major steps. You see what I'm saying? That's a service. Now, also knowing that you can't do business with everybody, that there is this concept of matching these services with an ideal type of client. We'll get into that as this series progresses. But really, just get an idea for what your basic services are and begin to talk about them with people that you don't know, in addition to the ones that you do. See what a better world that is? Now you've just increased the probability that you're in more real estate conversations with potentially more people who have real context to buy or sell over the next 12 months. Quite simple. So let me go back and reiterate these points. And the question on the table, remember, we're in the agent plan, but I've also now left the business discussion, module 1, and I've gone into marketing. Module 2. And the question on the table is, do you know how to do business with people that you don't know? Rhetorical question. I'm going to assume you don't really know in depth. So here are the caveats. The first two. Don't rely only on doing business or marketing your services to family, friends, and hoping for the referrals. That is definitely part of it, but not the only thing. The second thing is a plan that is founded on waiting for that type of business to come to you leads to very poor results, as we see in the National Association of Realtors average of about 3 and polished up to say typical of 7. I don't know that typical's a stat, but I'll take it. And lastly, how to start to move away from this reliance on family, friends, and their referrals only is to learn how to market your services. So you have to determine what those services are very clearly, very simply, and market them to people that you don't know to create a more predictable business that is now beginning to talk to people. Your business is talking through your marketing to people that you know and that you don't know. That's a lot better than only one side. All right, let me summarize it this way. Too many agents base their business plan on doing business only with family, friends, and their referrals. This unfortunately leads to a very mediocre result for most. Therefore, you must learn how to do business with people that you don't know in order to create a more consistent, predictable, and profitable business. And I'll throw in one thing there. You want to learn how to do business with people that own listings in the geography within which you want to do business, especially at or above the median price for that area. Okay? Little pro tip there at the end. All right. Now remember, you could take immediate action to get started in a better direction, the right direction if you're new or just want to bone up on your skills, whatever it might be. If you need to sell or buy property right now, or you want to become an agent in the near future, by getting our free step-by-step guides that are waiting for you at griffincourses.com, GRIFFIN courses.com. Okay? And also, don't forget, you can subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen, or you can find us on any of our social media channels. We try to be everywhere that is majorly relevant. And that way you don't miss out on these insights each time we post or upload an episode. We also appreciate it, of course, if you would comment and share on our content with anyone that's thinking about selling or buying property, or for that matter, because we're in the agent series, becoming an agent. Then they'll get the help that they need, whether they join us or not, or do business with us or not. Like I said, our goal is to make sure we leave you all better than we found you. But remember this, nobody's coming for you. Nobody. So take action and get to work on your own plan for buying or selling property or becoming an agent. And we'll see you in the next episode to help you do just that. Thanks again.